Namaste. We have been talking about an important issue relating to Hinduism. I gave two small talks on the issue of caste. We all know that caste is a very, very sensitive issue, and that is one issue on which Hindus are blamed, that Hindus are casteist. And then now we know that even in other countries like the United States or UK, they are talking about caste, and then they are saying that Hindus are oppressive in nature, etc. And then we think that it is really there. So I was trying to explain what exactly our texts say. Apart from what other people say about us, we have to know what our texts say. So what do our texts say? So I gave two short talks to explain that. That is one talk on this Purusha Sukta. What exactly Purusha Suktam says? Purusha Sukta, I told you, it's an important suktam in Rig Veda, important suktam in the Rig Veda. And that Rig Veda Sukta explains how, and actually it is misunderstood. I also explained how that Rig Veda Sukta has been misunderstood. And it only says in a metaphorical way that Brahmana is like the head of that Purusha, that cosmic being. And Kshatriya is like the shoulder of that cosmic being. The Vaishya is like the shoulder of thigh of that cosmic being. And the Shudra is like the feet of that cosmic being. So that is what exactly it says. Then again, I also told about Gita, what Gita says, Chaturvarnyam Maya Sushtam, etc. And there, clearly, Lord Krishna clearly points out that this division is based on what is called guna, sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna. This mix-up of these three gunas in so many proportions, in infinite proportions, they go to the making of a variety of people. So it is like a personality type. What exactly that personality type? I explained in the previous small talk, brief talk. Now, in that brief talk, I also referred to an episode in the Mahabharata, which is called the Nahusha Prashna. We know that the Pandavas, they were in the forest for 12 years. And 1 year they were supposed to spend incognito. And during those 12 years in which they were supposed to spend in the forest, they were moving from forest to forest, forest to forest. And in those days, it was very, very dense jungles, we know that. And in those dense jungles, they were going, and then wherever they went, of course, they were Bhima and Arjuna, they were killing some animals also. And Bhima, because of his very strong, great strength, he was showing his strength on trees. He was just going in a reckless way, knocking down trees with his shoulders, and then catching a lion, and then thrashing it, and then catching an elephant and thrashing it. So all the animals were running away on seeing him. So that was the situation. So it so happened, and now we also have two episodes in Mahabharata, which are actually lessons in humility for Bhima. Bhima is very, very proud of his strength, physical strength. So that is not enough. And Bhima occasionally taunts Dharmaraja, oh, because of you that we are all suffering, we have to wage war, immediately we have to go, and who in fact, it is very, very bad on our part to stay in the forest, etc., etc. So on one such occasion, when he had given a lecture to Dharmaraja, he goes out and then he was knocking down trees, and then he was knocking down animals, and doing all that havoc. And he was at that time caught by a huge say python. And that huge python was not an ordinary python. That was a very great king called Nahusha, who was cursed, who actually happened to fill the gap when Indra's place fell vacant in heaven. When that heaven's boss is Indra, when that seat fell vacant for some time. There is a story for that. We don't bother. We don't need it now. So Nahusha was picked up because he was such a just and righteous king on earth, and then he was taken there. But then he became very, very proud. He became very arrogant, and then he insulted all the sages there, and then he was cursed by the sages. Okay, you go and you fall down and be like a huge python. And your food, whomever you catch at this particular hour on a particular hour of day, that fellow will be that fellow or animal, whatever animal it is, it will be your food. So unfortunately, Bhima came in that direction, and he was caught by that anaconda, that python. It coils around him, and then Bhima is not able to move. So when that is so, Bhima is surprised. And Bhima really, he realizes, "Sorry, what is this? I am having the strength of so many elephants, and I am not able to free myself from this python." Then what happens? That python, then he realizes that there is something wrong. Now it is not an ordinary python, it is some Mahatma who is under some curse. And then he respectfully asks him, "Why? What is this? Who are you? Tell me the truth." Then that python also, it also has that knowledge. It has got that knowledge of his earlier life. So it tells the background story. And then it tells, "Oh, because of my arrogance, I fell." Of course, it is also a lesson for Bhima. Then again, meanwhile, that Python also says, "I am very helpless. You are like my brother. You are born in my own clan, but I am you are not supposed to be. You are not a person to be killed. But still, I have no other option at this particular time of the day. Whatever animal is caught by me, it has to be my food. That is the boon for me. Boon, or that is the only thing I have to do. I have to eat you." Meanwhile, and of course, there is also an exception. Exception in the sense there is a way out. That is, whoever answers my questions. If somebody answers my questions, then I can free you. That is some sort of way out. That is also a part of the boon. Then Dharmaraja happens to he sees for some time, and then Bhima doesn't come back, and then he again tracks the way. It is easy to track the way of Bhima because Bhima has destroyed. He has knocked down so many trees and then killed animals, and then he has created a havoc wherever he walked. So he came along tracing his path, and he finds Bhima caught by this huge python. Then he also realizes this python is not a normal python, and then he asks, "Who are you?" Then Python tells its story. "I am so and so. I am a king, and in fact, I was a king. I am actually one of your ancestors. It so happened that I got this curse. And if you happen to give answers to my questions, I will free your brother." Then he poses some questions, and the conversation and the topic of who is a Brahmana comes up. It comes up during their discussion. The topic of Brahmanatva comes up. And then he asks, "Who is a Brahmin? You tell me, who is a Brahmin?" Then, I'll read out I'll read out from this from Mahabharata itself. This is from chapter 180 of what is called Vanaparva. Vanaparva is Vana means forest. Vanaparva, that Parvam or that part of the book which deals with what all happens to Pandavas during their stay in the forest. So then the serpent asks, who is a Brahmin? Brahmana, O Bhaved Rajan, O king, who is a Brahmana? Tell me. Bravimi, Atimatim Tvam. Yeah. Then Yudhishthira says, Yudhishthira is Dharmaraja. He says, Satyam, Danam, Kshama, Sheelam, Anushamsyam, Tapo, Grana. Drishyante yatra nagendra, Sabbrahmana iti smritaha. He says, that is Satyam is truthfulness. Danam, charity. Kshama, forgiveness. Even if somebody insults me or beats me, I forgive. So that is the Kshama. That is not for everybody. That is for a Brahmana. A person who has it is a Brahmana. Kshama, Sheelam. Sheelam is character, good character. Anushamsyam. Anushamsyam is non-violence, absolutely not doing any harm to any animal, not even to an ant. Then tapaha. Tapaha is a contemplative nature. Tapa is basically thinking nature. I mean, a person who is capable of thinking, contemplating, doing tapas, what we call penance, not exactly penance, contemplation. Then gruna. Gruna is compassion. Drishyante yatra nagendra sabbrahmana iti smritaha. Where these characters are found, he is a brahmana. Then that Python puts a question. So these things are common to people. These things are characteristics which make any person noble. Not only a Brahmana, there are many people among Sudras who have these characteristics. Then what will you say about them? Then Yudhishthira means Dharmaraja. He has to agree. Yes, if these characteristics are found in a Shudra, he should be called a Brahmana. Shudre tu yat bhavel lakshma, dvije tachya navidyate. And if those qualities are not seen in a Brahmin, and if those qualities are seen in a Shudra, navai Shudro bhavet Shudra. That Shudra is no longer a Shudra, and that Brahmana is no longer a Brahmana. He makes very, very clear. Then yatra ital lakshyate sarpa vrittam sa brahmana smritaha. In whomsoever these characteristics are found, these qualities are found, we have to treat him as a brahmana only. Then yatra itam navaves sarpatam shudramiti nirdishet. When these characteristics are not found in a person, not at all found in a person, he should be treated as he should be called as a shudra. Then it goes like the discussion goes like this. And Yudhishthira also makes clear in another sloka, Jatiratra Mahasarpa Manushyatve Mahamate. Then a reference comes to Jati. Jati means birth. The question is, Brahmana's son, will he automatically become a Brahmana? This is the basic sensitive question in our society. In our society also, what people say is, how can a Brahmana's son become a Brahmana? That is, we have to see that this debate is as old as Mahabharata. And then that Python also asks the same thing. That Python, under the threat of death, it is saying, you tell the truth, otherwise I'm going to kill you. It is somebody like putting a sword on the neck and tell the truth. Then Dharmaraja has to tell the truth. He is saying what exactly is dharma. What is he saying? This jati. Jati means birth. By birth will he become a Brahmana. By birth will he become a Shudra. Then Yudhishthira says, Jatiratra Mahasarpa Manushyatve Mahamate Sankarat Sarvavarnanam Dushparikshiyeti me matihi. Because this intermingling of these varnas, Sankarat Sarvavarnanam, all these varnas, they got intermingled so much that it is difficult to say whose son is who, whether he really from the same seed continued from time immemorial. It is impossible to say because there is so much of Sankaryam, there is so much of mixing up, and we cannot say. That is the reason why even he also quotes he also quotes some mantras which are uttered by the Brahmanas during various yajnas. There are certain mantras which say ye jamahe, something like that. It says we do not know who we are. We do not know whether we are Brahmins or not. We are assuming that we are Brahmins and then we are uttering these mantras. So that is what they say. So he says, Sankarat Sarvavarnanam Dushparikshya. That is, it is very, very difficult, or it is impossible. Dushpariksha means it is impossible to say. It is impossible to say that he belongs to a particular jati. He is the son of so and so. It is impossible to say. So that is the reason why you cannot find a jati, but you can find a varna. If somebody is having all these characteristics, he belongs to Brahmana. If somebody is having some other characteristics like valor, that a sense of achievement and ambition, all those things, so he is a Kshatriya. So like that, depending on the guna, he has to be decided as a Brahmana, or a Kshatriya, or a Vaishya, or Sudra. Then that is what this particular chapter says. Then the chapter also ends like that. Tavat Shudra Samohyesha Yavad Vedena Jayate Tasmat Shilam Pradhanishtam Vidurye Tattvadarshana Shilam. The character is most important. That is the only deciding factor. Now, the fact that he is born to a Brahmin is not the deciding factor to say that he is a Brahmana, but his character is the deciding factor to say that he is a Brahmana. So this is one episode, and there are some more questions relating to other topics in this episode. And Nahusha is pleased by the wisdom of Dharmaraja, and he releases Bhima, and Bhima also learns one lesson in humility. Of course, there is one more lesson in humility when he could not lift the tail of Hanuman. So Bhima repeatedly gets these lessons in humility. And incidentally, there are so many messages here because Dharmaraja is occasionally troubled by Bhima and particularly Draupadi also, that it is because of you that we are all in the forest, etc., etc. So there are so many messages and combined in this. And one important message is about this Varna and caste, Varna and Jati. So this is how it is in this episode. There are some more episodes in Mahabharata, where there is a reference to this issue of Varna. And Vyasa says exactly the same things there also. Maybe in the subsequent episodes, I will also tell about them. Thank you.